Hi everyone, welcome to the rainy day in gardening. So hopefully you're inside if it's raining right now for you, but I'm going to be outside because I've got a whole bunch of soil. So today I'm going to go over seeding. I'm going to have a little bit more informational video with lots of lesson plans and information attached to it for our next video. But for right now, I'm just going to get you into seeding so you can make sure your seeds are started and it's not too late for you to do this. Depending on where you are, right now in Oregon it's a little early to seed, unless if you're being inside, but there's some areas I know people are watching all the way in Baltimore, so it's probably pretty warm for you and you want to get those seeds started. So today I'm going to go through quite a few different seed varieties and how to seed them, mainly because some of my students, and if you guys are watching, hey, you guys help me open these, but maybe a little too vigorously, so we've got to make sure we use some of these seeds. So we've got some onions, and I've got, Brussels sprouts. We've got thyme, which is actually a perennial, so that will stay for every single year. I won't need to seed these every single year because they'll keep growing back. And then I have Swiss chard, some of my favorite seeds. They look so cute. We've got some bok choy, or the toi choy. And then I might do some easy sewing how to do kale because that's a vegetable I really suggest growing right now. It's very mineral and vitamin rich. And then we've just got some spinach. It's very hardy. All of these things do really well. I love basil, so I'd like to start basil, but this only grows well inside right now. It really likes lots of sunshine and some warmth. So you're going to want to make sure if you plant something like basil to keep it inside, unless if it's a really, really warm day. But I won't be planting this outside. So in the end, it might end up being transplanted to a large pot like this inside my house. And then some cilantro. So first, what you're going to want to make sure you do is when you look at the back of your seed packet, so I'll pull out Brussels sprouts, you're going to want to go to the back of it. It tells you all the information that you need to know about seeding this, and you really want to pay attention to that because this seed, even if you have Brussels sprouts from a different variety, sometimes they can be really particular because some are made specifically for certain areas, so they are drought resistant, or they like a lot of sunshine, or they're made so they can grow better in the shade if you're in an area that is higher up in altitude, or maybe in altitude but in latitude, so you don't get as much sunshine in the year. So we're going to look at the back of this, and they say 1/4 of depth, so that's something we want to pay attention to when we plant inside of our seed trays. So I have a larger seed tray, but also, like everyone at home, if you wanted to use an egg carton, I've got my egg carton nice and ready. So I've left it outside, so it's quite moist and wet for the seed to germinate. So seeds really want moisture for germination. And germination just means when that seed cracks open and lets the plant out. So every seed actually has a little baby plant stored away inside of it, and it's using all of its energy to make sure it survives for a period of time. And then you add some moisture and it cracks open. Some seeds, a lot of evergreens need to go through winter, so they need to be frosted for a period of time before they can germinate. Other seeds don't necessarily need to go through that such a dramatic climate change. But these guys definitely like moisture to germinate. So you want to make sure your soil is nice and damp and comfortable and decently warm. Seeds will germinate at certain temperature rates, and that will be in the other video. I'll give some examples of what seeds like certain soil temperatures the most ideal. And these are, especially the earlier ones, they like chillier soil, so that's why we can seed them now and leave them outside during the day. But as I said, the depth is really important because some seeds like to be further underground and have less sunlight, and other seeds actually like to have a little bit of light for germination. So this is 1/4 of an inch, and if you look at it, these seeds are super tiny. So usually the smaller the seed, the less in depth that it goes. But 1/4 of an inch is not that bad. So I will put this in my tray. I've got to be careful not to put my seed packets down on my table out here because it's very wet. And once you get your seed packet wet, you ruin the viability of your seeds growing later if you want to put it into storage. Because it's important to keep them dry. So this guy's already falling apart a little bit. I usually use my pinky with my students, so pinky's up. And usually your fingernail to the cuticle all the way down here is about 1 inch generally, so you can use that as your measure, your rule of thumb. If you don't actually have a ruler, if you have a ruler, this is great with kids to actually get the ruler out, stick it in the soil, see how far you can go in and out, and you just make a little bit of a hole, tiny little hole. I take my seed and I drop it in, And then I simply just pinch it over. So I just planted a Brussels sprout. Let's go to onions. So onions, they are also 1/4 of an inch in. So we're going to do the same thing. But now we want to look at something else. So this is seed spacing. This is a group of 2 seeds every 6 inches. So onions, you think about when they grow out underground. You want to give them enough space for when they grow underground, but you can plant them pretty close together. Where if we're doing kale and we're direct seeding outside into our beds, we want to make sure they're spaced enough where when they grow up to really large kale trees, kale bushes, they don't crowd each other too much because they need some space for sunlight to get to the entire plant. So you want to make sure you do that. But now that we're just seeding in trays, we can just put 1 in each hole. Unless if your seeds are a little bit old or you're working with kids, feel free to put 2 in there. And if 2 plants end up growing, that means you just have to thin them later, which we'll have a video on how to thin your plants later. So again, I use my pinky and I just do a nice little divot in there, not too deep because this is only, again, 1/4 of an inch. I put 2 seeds in there because these are a little bit old and they've been open quite a bit, so I'm not sure how great they're feeling about regrowing. So I'm going to go to chard, sorry. I'm going to go to chard, one of my favorite seeds, and this is actually 1/2 an inch. So that's going to be a little bit deeper, and if you look at it, these seeds look quite a bit different. They're a bit bigger. I think they look like little dinosaur eggs, so they're exciting. Beet seeds look the same way. So we're gonna look at the back again, and if we want to check out the differences between these, so we've got some toy choy and some chard, and they have the same germination rate, so days to emergence or days to germination. So that tells you when that seed's going to pop open and show you a little sprout and maybe some leaves. So we've got kale, that's 8 to 12 days. But both our chard and our choy are only 5 to 10 days. So these guys might pop up a lot sooner than your kale. So your kale could take a whole week or more to have a little sprout emerging out of the soil, where these guys could maybe be 5 days. So you want to make sure you look at the back of your seed packet and think about, all right, how long do I have to wait to know if this seed is actually germinating, or maybe it failed, because some seeds may fail and it's not your fault. Other times you may water it too much or too little, and that's okay. That's all a learning process. We're allowed to fail in this, and that's why we try to have so many options and maybe do 2 seeds in each hole if it's your first time. So last thing I'm going to go over in this video, some seed packets will have this really cool map on the back, and that's going to tell you generally when your last frost date is, and it kind of insinuates when you can start planting these outside. So this is an outside reference. You can see them inside and kind of move that up a little bit. So once you have little babies and they've grown up a little bit, little starter plants, they're a bit more durable than your seed. So if you have a starter plant, they're going to have these 2 first budding leaves, and they look like hearts. We'll go over this later in a more detailed video. But once those go away and you have an even larger set of leaves, those can go outside. They're ready to transplant, and they'll be quite a bit hardier, and they can survive a frost. So if you go past the frost state or into the frost state, then that's okay if you have starters. But we want to keep these guys inside. I'm going to finish my tray. In the next video, I'll go over a little bit more detail about seeds themselves, how they travel, what kind of temperature they like, how to store them, and things like that. So fill your tray up, put 1 to 2 seeds in each little compartment. Make sure you look at how deep they want to go. Sometimes it's even 1/8 of an inch. And if it's that shallow, like lettuce, I would suggest putting it on top of the soil and then just sprinkling soil lightly over the top of them. So not actually putting a hole and burying it if it's only like 1/8 of an inch. Just lay it right on top of the soil and sprinkle your extra soil on top. So good luck, have fun, send me photos, send me questions, and if you guys have anything you want me to talk more about or have a video specifically on, please let me know. I can easily make a video about it and talk your ear off. So enjoy, subscribe to our channel, and let me know if there's anything else you're interested in. Have a great day, and I hope the sun comes out for you and for me. Bye.